I'd like to call the, whatever today's date is, February 24th, 2025 Parks and Recreation Commission meeting to order at 5:31 p.m. Hi, everybody.
Commissioners, when I call your name, please indicate that you are present. Chair Moralia,
Present.
Vice Chair Palazzinato,
Present.
Commissioner Admeyer,
Present.
Commissioner Davis,
Present.
Commissioner Diaz,
Present.
Commissioner Ferguson,
Present.
Commissioner Fine,
Present.
Commissioner Finland,
Present.
Commissioner Nagaya,
Present.
Commissioner Roddy.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Great.
The agenda was posted on February 19th at 5:30 p.m. Which was supposed to happen, so it did. Did everybody have a chance to look at the minutes? Any changes to the minutes? Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second.
That's. Fine motion and then, Admiral seconded.
Thank you. Roll call vote, please. Chair Moralia,
Approved.
Vice Chair Palazzinato,
Approved.
Commissioner Admeyer,
Approved.
Commissioner Davis,
Approved.
Commissioner Diaz,
Approved.
Commissioner Ferguson,
Approved.
Commissioner Fine,
Approved.
Commissioner Finland,
Approved.
Commissioner Nagaya,
Approved.
Commissioner Roddy.
Approved.
Okay, let's hope not everybody wants to do public comment, but of course you can. Anyway, this time has been set aside for members of the public to address the Parks and Recreation Commission on agenda items of general interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the commission. Although the commission values your comments pursuant to the Brown Act, it generally cannot take any action on items not listed on the posted agenda. 3 minutes are assigned for each speaker. Now, you know that at least one of you wants to speak, so whoever wants to be first, come on up. Come on up.
Where am I going?
Right here.
Do I get to sit in everything?
Yeah, you even get a
It's
speaker.
a big boy chair.
Yeah.
How y'all doing? Good, thank you. My name is William Miller. I live at the north end of Palm Springs here off of, can you turn on your mic? Technology. Bill Miller. I live at the north end of, Palm Springs up by the windmills. In fact, I work doing windmill tours. But I'm off from San Rafael and Hermosa. I've been doing landscape garden work for over 50 years. I'm 71 years old. My education includes seminars, classes with Penn State University, University of Delaware, Indiana University in Indiana, Purdue University, and University of Southern California. I studied horticulture at Longwood Gardens in Kennett Square, Pennsylvania. I studied also and helped rebuild greenhouses before most of you were born at Ridley Creek State Park in Pennsylvania. And I recently, 2 years ago, the Riverside Master Gardening Program. Here in Palm Springs, we have a heat problem. Last year, this week it was raining. This year, since last March, we've had about 1 inch of rain since March of last year. This is written about a week ago. Yesterday was around 90 degrees. We've not seen rain since March. Last summer, we saw nighttime temperatures alarmingly close to daytime temperatures. I'm a lifelong gardener and I've been keeping my own daily records for over 30 years, both in Indiana, where I live near Chicago, and here now since 2015. The heat situation should alarm everyone. All of you have heard and seen around the world, people are dying from the oppressive heat. Throughout this region, and sadly also in Palm Springs, we have literally hundreds of untrained, unqualified people, so-called gardening outfits, destroying our trees. As our forestry charter notes here in Palm Springs, trees create shade and cooling, they clean the air, improve our property values, help save energy, and reduce our carbon footprint. Trees cut unto death throughout our valley do none of this. It breaks my heart to see trees ruined so that they provide absolutely nothing for any of us. We need whole, unmolested trees to cool the air and create a pleasant environment. One thing seemingly not considered by the tree hackers or the city, parks and homeowners are the fact that trees provide shelter and safe harbor for our birds, bats, bees, and butterflies, many of our pollinators. This city, as well as others, are complicit in this damage. The city, the parks, hire unqualified, untrained people to maintain our garden beds and trees and our parks. Thousands of our trees are attacked annually. This is never necessary. There should be a moratorium on cutting any tree for several years unless there is a health or danger issue. Leave the trees to recuperate and heal themselves. We haven't had rain. I used to live in Philadelphia, lived in Chicago. Rain is what heals the trees. We don't have rain. We just have water bubblers coming out of the ground. It's not enough. Another issue is the beds in places along Cockrell's Canyon. Sunrise, new beds are going in and there's old beds there. And on Gene Autry, half of the plants in those beds are dead, gone, or sitting dead. The people are supposed to maintain our garden areas, have no training. They do not know what they are doing. Right out front here, there used to be a rose garden and there's still a plaque about the Palm Springs rose. It's full of bougainvillea. The roses they're gone. In Ruth Hardy Park, most of the roses are gone. Stop the cutting, save that money and hire qualified, trained people. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Brought prompts. Hi, everyone. My name is Marty Fritz. My husband Dennis and I are local residents. We use the small dog park out back almost daily. We've been here 5 years and we've seen a gradual deterioration of the park over that time. We took the liberty of taking pictures of other area parks, dog parks in Palm Desert, India, La Quinta, Rancho Mirage, DHS, and Cathedral City, and you can see quite a difference. I'm going to submit this to you for your review and comparison. A couple questions I have. Is there any equity in funding for the different areas where the money goes in the parks and recreation? Is there any planning at this point for the park out back?
We are not allowed to answer questions to you unless it's an agenda item.
Oh, okay.
But you can ask the questions so that we can remember for
Okay.
future.
This is my first time of knowing this, so
You're fine. Keep
I
going.
appreciate your patience. You know, we used to have a couple of trees in the park. I want to echo what the other gentleman said. We have one large tree and one small one. It provides very little shade, which leads me to the chairs. There's been some issue with the chairs. The benches are nice, but there's a few of them. We cannot move the benches when the sun shifts. And in the summer, shade is a commodity. So that's why we have the chairs in the park, which have all been generously donated. I guess that's it. All right. I give this to you? Sure. Thanks. And then we can pass it to the audience.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, great. Thanks.
Hey,
David Reddy.
hello.
I'm Kara, and I brought some information about the park. This is also about the dog park. I've lived in Palm Springs for since 2000, and I've been using the dog park since 2023. Before moving here, I spent 2 decades with dogs in Los Angeles, exploring countless dog parks and beaches across Southern California, like dog beaches. I can say that Palm Springs Dog Park, the small dog park, is probably the worst small dog park I've ever visited. I've never seen a public park, a dog park or otherwise, where people are allowed to leave chairs. Like we have so many chairs at this park and they're unmaintained, they're not safe, they're dirty, and they're taking up space that the dogs could use to play. I have a dog that runs, she's an Italian Greyhound, and she wants to just jet into the park, and it should be, when I see my dog run, it makes me happy. But when I'm at this park, it makes me scared because I'm worried she's gonna run into one of these chairs. And I've seen dogs get hurt at this park because of the layout and the chairs, but mostly I agree with Marty that it does need to be reconfigured so that the benches are more usable, because people don't sit in the benches. They sit in the chairs because, yeah, there's too much sun, but I also think, I mean, obviously, the landscaping needs help, the grass is dead. Every other park closed for a month and opened, and when it reopened, it looked better. Ours looked the same or worse. I mean, I went down to the park probably a week before it reopened, and the people were there seating, and it's like, shouldn't you have started seeding the grass at the beginning of the closure? So I was really confused, but I mean, mostly I'm worried about the dogs. I see a lot of the same people every day. I don't see a lot of new people that come because probably they see this park and they say, what the heck is this? I mean, it looks like almost like a dump of chairs, it's basically just a dumping spot for chairs. And so it doesn't look good. It's definitely an eyesore for people who are visiting town. Like I'm all about the dogs. I want the dogs to be able to have fun. And I just go to this park and I worry about my dog getting hurt on a chair. And I've asked people politely if they could stack the chairs when they're done with them. And I've been met with hostility, and I just find it to be it's just a lot of drama to deal with to go to the dog park. I mean, I also notice people sitting in chairs tend not to watch their dogs as much, so they don't clean up. And I'm sick of showing up at the park and having to do the job of stacking chairs. So I feel like I have a job every time I go to this park of stacking the chairs and cleaning up the waste of other patrons. So yeah, this is my concern. And I've brought some printouts with the issues at the dog park, and you could please pass them around. Just my main concerns with the chairs. There's a picture of the park in Palm Desert, which is actually quite beautiful. It's the same size as our dog park. Grass is beautiful. Benches are under a big awning that actually serves its purpose. And yeah, I think our park needs help.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Michael Koth, and I'm here in representation of the G-Force workout that we hold at Ruth Hardy Park. And I'm actually here to change the tone a little bit. I'm here to thank you for the support that you've given us. We have been attending and going through the Measure J process, and I'm here to report that we've survived the pruning, and we are now at the place where funding is going to be recommended for us, which is really exciting for our group. And we're really grateful to you for the support that you gave us at the beginning of this process. And I know you can't answer questions or anything now, so why I decided to get up here just and talk, other than to say thank you, is that our group is not an organization, and so we really are the first person. We have reached out to other groups and stuff, and so now we've got more of a collaboration and have reached out to other health and wellness practitioners and that, with regards to doing our homework based on some of the requests that the Measure J Commission has given us. And now I'm coming back to you actually to ask for more guidance in relationship to the envisioning plan that the city has for Parks and Recs for the next 10 years, and how we might be able to assist and streamline our project in relationship to completion. So that's all I really have to say. Just, we're extremely grateful. I could tell you that there's hundreds of people that would voice what I'm saying to you tonight. I just wanted you all to know. So thank you.
Thanks.
So everyone. My name is Rick Camerano. I'm a resident of Palm Springs. I didn't intend to speak tonight. But I was touched by what Marty had to say. And understand the difficulty of the issue with the chairs. These are neighbors and friends, and it's become very contentious and very difficult. And understand the situation you all are in to make a decision with regard to how that is ultimately decided. I think what Marty said, if we go back to the initial comments he made, is that the park is inadequate. It's wholly inadequate. And the response has been to
fix it ourselves, if you will. And to bring chairs in that are in the wrong places and do make it very, very difficult. I also have an Italian Greyhound. And we're there to run our dogs, that we have small homes with small backyards. And we have to take our dogs to run. This is what the dog park, in my mind, is for. It also offers people a community and a place to get together and to meet and talk. And absolutely, it functions in both those manners, but one can't override the other. They have to work together. And so I think that what I should say is there's a short and long-term solution here that you may need to address, which is the longer term solution is that parking really does need to be redesigned. It's very poorly designed. It was designed by someone who does not have a dog. Okay, it's clear. It's rectangular, not round. The dogs run back and forth as opposed to circles, which dogs like to run in circles, they have to be chased, all manner of that. But getting back to this issue, which has really divided so many of us, is these chairs. And my issue is, I understand it, and I appreciate people coming and wanting to sit. My issue is, can we keep them to the side where they're not, the park's very small. If you've all been there, it's a very small park. And it was inadequately designed again. And so people, we would like to be able to play with our dogs, and the chairs really do infringe upon that. So there's a manner of, yes, okay, let's let the chairs be there, but let's not let them infringe on where people are playing and allow there to be space for that. The other thing is when people leave, you know, when I was a kid and I got up from the dining room table, my mother told me to put the chair back. When you get up and leave the park, return the chairs. It's really simple.
Can you speak into the microphone, please? We cannot hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you all hear me? Okay. So it's real simple. And I think some of these things would help with the contentious nature of what's going on. It would help us to be good neighbors and be neighborly with each other again.
Thank you.
My name is Barbara Mattis, and I live here in the south end of Palm Springs. I've been going to this dog park, the small dog park behind City Hall, for over 20 years, since 2004. And I've seen a lot of changes happen. They brought up the chairs. I'm not going to get into that, except for the fact that we have a lot of senior people in the park, and they need to sit down somewhere. The benches are inadequate. We don't even have any trees that we can put benches around now because the trees have fallen down and they've not been replaced. One small mesquite bush has been put in place, and I'm gonna be dead before that turns into a shade tree. We used to have tent shades. At one point when they started to use Demuth Park as an alternate during the reseeding period, they took the tent away from the front bench at City Hall, put it into Demuth Park, and thereafter it turned into garbage. Demuth is not a good alternative. It's not ready yet. There's a big dog park that's like a dirt pile, and there's nowhere for the small dogs to go. We went into the baseball fields next to that because it just wasn't working. So we need tent structures or whatever. Water, we need properly functioning water fountains. We also used to have a faucet so we could fill up a bowl for a dog, or we could fill up little swimming pools in the summer. We don't have that anymore. They have one faucet on the big side, but none on the small side. The perimeter fence, the artist fence, is severely broken at the back end, the parking lot that adjoins the health center over there. And we keep hearing that you can't fix it because you can't touch it because the artist won't get permission or whatever that is. It needs to be fixed. And a tree needs to replace the big Palo Verde that was there. I don't know what kind of tree you want to put in, but it should be bigger than a bush. And there are lots of rocks that need reorganizing. The other thing is there's DG all over. The landscape cloth is showing. And the DG needs to be replaced, little pebbles or stones. This park is a social place, not only for the dogs, but for people. It's really, really important to this community. People go there in the morning, the afternoon, and they really count on it. And somehow You guys have got to figure out how to provide an alternative that isn't Panorama Park, that isn't Rancho Mirage, but that is here in the jewel of the desert in Palm Springs so that people have a place to go. I'm done, thanks.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tim Stentford. I'm a Duluth Park resident and taxpayer, and I really appreciate the opportunity that you're giving the public and taking time to listen. And I'm going to repeat a lot of the same concerns about the small dog park, because it is a really important for our beloved animals and the social aspect for a lot of people, particularly seniors who count on that. We've built our community of friends around the people that we've met in this dog park back here, and it's really important to our family. So maybe a couple of constructive ideas. I don't know if there's an opportunity to have an ongoing citizens focus group or working panel to be able to collaborate. We're the ones who are there every day. We know you can't be in the jobs that you do, and we appreciate that. But maybe there's a way that we can be collaborating on a regular basis. So some of the deferred maintenance, some of the risk and liability issues, I think, for the city can not be boiling up at a meeting like this, but can be handled over time with some good regular communication. And I, for one, would be happy to participate in some of that. I know many of the folks that I've gotten to know in the dog park would be eager to do that as well. I agree with the seating issue. There are over 60 seats for people between benches, chairs, and that. And for the space that's there, it's simply too many. And so we need to do something about that. As a Duluth Park resident, I echo the same concerns. People are not using the parks there. We participated in the focus groups that the city had last year. To be honest, it was a little disengaging because it felt like it was already fait accompli on whatever the design was, and we weren't really going to be listened to. So I'd ask this group, when you have some time, to get back to us on what you heard from the people who use it, from the taxpayers. What did you hear that you've actually done? Because we don't have any changes there. And I was just down there this afternoon. People use the ball fields. Ball fields have signs saying, don't bring your dogs there. It's for the kids to play their games. And I understand, having had two boys grow up to Little League, how important it is to preserve those fields. But every day there's more dogs and owners because they don't have any other safe place to go in the park. And whatever that big fenced area is in Duluth, that there's no signage and it's a million miles away from a parking spot. Don't know. So anyhow, appreciate the chance to comment and hope you'll consider our offer to have some regular citizenry input. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Name is Marilyn Markovich. I moved here from Ohio in 2016. I have two little dogs. I go to the dog park. I bring them twice a day, around 7 in the morning and around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It is true that we seniors do congregate. It's a lifeline. The best friends that I have made since moving to the desert, I made at the dog park. Of course, sometimes the dogs can't run. I get that because it's too small. But it's very important that you understand that within 2 weeks after it was reseeded, from Thanksgiving to December, mid-December, when it reopened, it turned into mud. There was no grass at all. And now there's a huge area where mainly the dogs run around and it is just dirt. There's no grass at all. The big dog park has a little bit more grass, but we are suffering, or the dogs are suffering, because some of the dogs start picking at the dirt and they're eating the dirt. I don't know what's in it for them, but they're doing that. So, what I'm asking you, or what I'm to do is, somebody needs to go and see, somebody here needs to physically go to the dog park. We can talk until we're blue in the face, but unless you actually see, and the poster that Marty had shows exactly why we're complaining. The other, why does the Rancho Mirage have grass that looks like a golf course? And we have no grass that looks like a mud pit? Are we using the wrong grass seed? Does anyone care? Does anyone, excuse me, give a shit? And by the looks and the action, no one cares. I love living in the desert. I don't have to shovel any more snow, but I would like better for all of our dogs. Thanks.
My name is Chantel Schultz. I've been a resident of Palm Springs since 2017. I found my little dog that I have. She is now actually my registered service dog. I found her in Riverside, where if you go to Riverside and look at their parks that they have there, they're a lot better than what we have here in Palm Springs. It's actually a crying shame to think that we have the nice homes that we have here. People come from around the world to see the homes that we have here. And realtors will sell a home and say that there's a dog park in the area, and the dog park we have looks so poor. It doesn't speak well for anybody who's behind this table right here. I'm sorry. Not to put you guys in a bad spot, but everybody could be doing a lot better. I think even the people who go to the park could be doing better with picking up the chairs. They are right there. We do leave the chairs sitting out there, and I do apologize for that. I do enjoy going to the park. I have now been sober for 1 year. And that's the only place that I can go to, of course, to be able to go and not have drinks in Palm Springs. It's very popular to do that. It's fun, and I enjoyed it when I did it, but I need to have a place to go to be able to get out. I have PTSD, and staying inside of my house is a very easy option to sit around and watch TV all the time. So I enjoy being able to go to the park, and like I said, it's the only place I've been able to make friends there without it being controversial. I drive the car that you may see in town that says PS Pride on it. Now, when you see the car that says Pride on it, it's not just for being gay pride, because I am a straight individual, but I take pride in the community that I live in. I drive Uber and Lyft, and I like to be able to represent very well for Palm Springs and let people know about the good things that there are here. I don't have much well to say, but I do enjoy being able to go to the dog park. I would like to see it look a lot nicer though. I am tired of seeing the fighting at the big dog park side. I don't know what goes on over there, why that's happening, but we're having an issue obviously on the small side. So if you guys could please address that, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Sidney James. Lived in Palm Springs since 2017. The dog parks at Demuth are not parks. They're gravel pits with a fence around them. What waste of money that was. And you can't access it from, you can't park next to it. You have to park a distance away. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but we have a demographic in Palm Springs that a 1/4 mile walk to a dog park is not feasible. So Demuth, useless, close it. Fix this dog park first. I've been told that the fence surrounding the dog park is some type of cultural institution that cannot be touched. Well, you've certainly touched lots of other cultural institutions in Palm Springs. Fix the dog park. It's just terrible. If the dog park was set up with decent logistics, these issues would not be issues. There would be space for people, and there are a number of solutions. The other thing I want to say, and this makes me very angry. I think people here at this table have heard this discussion once or twice before. Ridiculous. Thank you.
My name is Garrett. Couple of things I want to talk about is shade in the park. Sorry, shade in the park. There's a lot of trees that have fallen in the park and have not been replaced. So we have very few shade trees. The canopies that are in the park, there's 3 of them in the large dog park and I think 1 in the small dog park. And when it's 110 degrees outside, you cannot sit under those shade things because so much sun is coming through that mesh that it's just as hot sitting under that as it is anywhere else in the park. That's one reason we need chairs in the park. There's a lot of people that can't stand the whole time they're there to watch their dog. They're old, they need to sit. And they can't necessarily sit on benches in the sun when it's 110 degrees outside. So the important thing about the chairs is that they get moved under trees in places where there's shade and people can sit and cool off when it's 110 degrees outside. There are 15 chairs in the large dog park. There are 30 chairs in the small dog park. There are 15 chairs in the small dog park that match the chairs that are in the large dog park. But the other 15 chairs in the small dog park are like Salvation Army, just random stuff. I get that there's not enough room to throw a ball in the small dog park because of all the chairs. But there are 30 chairs in there. That seems like a lot of chairs. Yeah, we have 15 in the large dog park, and that seems to be sufficient for us in the large dog park. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Oh, yeah, I was just waiting for everybody. Hi, everybody. Helen Buchanan, I live in the movie colony. And let me get my notes, because I wanted to address what everybody's been talking about. Trees are always leaning. Our new tree that everybody's talking about, the little one, it has 1 stick. So that stick has leaned, so now the tree is leaning. In Demuth, because I live in the movie colony, Ruth Hardy, go by, I know some of it's winds, but 2 years ago, 3 years ago, y'all planted 15 trees at Ruth Hardy. Every one of them are this way. And they're babies, just like the one we have. It's a big problem. We got to figure out how to get the trees straight up. The water fountain that Barbara talked about, that was wonderful. I don't know if y'all are friends or not, but that damn Christy Osterhage or whatever her name was, she came to the dog park wanting to do almighty God, whatever. And she changed out just our water fountains and the one right outside the small dog park gate. It's a 3 fountain. You can drink and the dogs have a bowl. But the problem is it's white and crusty from the hard water. Our fountains that we had before in the small dog park, like they still have in the big dog park, they shoot down, the spouts shoot down. So we're able to get it in the bowl instead of trying to put the bowls up in whatever this fountain that she decided to put in. I'm glad she's gone. That's all I got to say. The chairs have always been there. I've been here for 20 years. I had all of the buildings on Tocowitz. I was in property management for many years here. I even had crack towers. I was the one that straightened it up and got the gate around it, put all of that. That was many years ago. Been retired for 15 or so. My dogs passed last year. I still go to the dog park and get my fill. My friends are there. I went through cancer. I've got a hernia. I have huge health problems. I just lost 127 pounds. I can't sit on the benches because now I don't have any butt. There's 15 people can sit on these benches. That's conservatively. If that, and the problem is they're hard, and they're benches, I get it. But we have nowhere to sit in the shade or anything, we're on the small side, the big side, they can sit about 40 people conservative with their bones. The big concrete bones and the benches too. Trees, dogs, humans, the pace, we have been asking for 2 years, yes, the bit, we've had a lot of people that passed, a lot of dogs that passed. And there's plaques, and there used to be bricks that were done in the ground on the big side. There used to be benches and trees that we could get, and nobody, I've asked around for 2 years. Nobody, I've got Joyce Villman that was at Seven Lakes, been coming to the park since the day it was open. She was a school teacher here. She's wanting to get a tree and a plaque for her and her dog. I can't find anybody to do it, and I keep telling her she's at Hallmark. The benches in the small, okay, the awning that went to the animal shelter that Barbara was talking about. We took that over. Well, so I guess it'll be here next month.
Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah.
Good evening, my name is Byron Bergman, resident of Palm Springs, been here since 2018. I too go to the dog park every day. I believe most of the comments and concerns that have been expressed are on behalf of the small dog park this evening. Oops, sorry about that. I'm here to speak in support of the large dog park and what's happening. I'll pass this around. This picture was taken 2 days ago. And this is an example of how the dog park, the large dog park is used. We're all sitting around getting some shade under that canopy, but we all are sitting on the chairs with the exception of one person in that photo. The chairs are are the choice way for us to do this. I just would say we hope we don't lose any chairs in this process. We feel that we're adequately or marginally adequately set up with chairs and seats right now. So I just want to say that, that from our perspective, there's not a lot of problems with the dog park. I too have been around, and I would say that this dog park is pretty darn nice. The Rancho Mirage Dog Park doesn't get used anywhere near as much as this dog park is used. So it's going to suffer wear and tear a lot more than the one at Rancho Mirage. But my point is simply, we're pretty happy with the way things are going. We just don't want to lose any chairs and seats. Thank you. Thank you.
What was your name? I'm sorry.
Byron Bergman.
My name is Wendy Miller. I go to the dog park every day, and I have gone every day for the last 3 years. I think I've missed twice. And I go because I have a dog that needs to run around and exercise. But I also go because at my age, and I live alone, it's very hard to make friends. And we have what some people call a party over in the large dog park. But it's actually just people, it's a large group of people. People come in, people go out, people over the age of 80, people with disabilities, and they're all welcome. And I basically want you to know that the dog park serves more than just the dogs. It serves the people in Palm Springs. And like Helen said, she doesn't have a dog anymore, but she comes every day because it's a social life for a lot of people. So I'd like to see it continue to be known as one of the best dog parks. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, thanks everyone. Do we have anybody via Zoom?
If you are joining us via Zoom, please use the raise hand feature to indicate if you'd like to speak. No best in Zoom.
Can people speak twice?
No. Sorry. Okay, public comment over. I'm sure the director's report will be just as exciting, so please stick around.
All right, good evening, Recreation and Parks Commissioners. I'll give you a brief presentation of what we've been up to in the Parks and Recreation Department since our last meeting last month. Couple of items that went to City Council on February 13th, we had the Duluth Park Pickleball Court Expansion Project. That's in partnership with the Engineering Division. That was approved by City Council, and so we are moving forward with that project. For that item, that has already been posted out to bid, and so we are waiting direction from the amount of bids that we will receive for that project, and then go ahead and start construction. We are also still working as just a follow-up item. We are still working on the temporary pickleball court park that will place during the construction period, and as soon as we have that solidified, we'll bring that back forward to the commissioner for additional information. Also at the February 13th meeting, we also had our master plan presentation and status update. This was an update to the city council to give them an idea of where we are with the project. We are about 98% complete with the master plan. The only item that we are waiting is environmental review, which we are working with the community development department. Once we have that environmental review completed, we will then bring forth the final plan for approval by the city council. So more to come on this. And just looking forward, on March 12th, we're taking forward an item in conjunction with the Public Works Department. This is for just general emergency restoration and remediation services, an on-call contractor for us to have in the Parks and Recreation Department, so that we can have under our division for future projects that we need to move forward. Since our last meeting, we've added a new member to our team. Pictured here, this is Kelvin Wood. He's a recreation program assistant. He will be working out of the Duluth Community Center. So if you're over and go to programming at Duluth, please say hi to Kelvin. Kelvin comes to us from Washington and brings a background in athletics as a baseball coach. And so we're really excited to have him as part of our team, and he'll do just great over at Duluth. Some other items that we've been up to in the department, on January 25th, in partnership with the Sustainability Department, we hosted a community cleanup at the James and Jesse Desert Highland Unity Center, and in partnership with the Desert Highland Gateway Estates. This event was to bring awareness to community members to drop off household items for disposal and just overall do a big community cleanup over in that area. On February 8th, we had the Tour de Palm Springs, where we issued a special event permit in town. This is a cycling charity ride that raises money for local nonprofits in the Coachella Valley. The race began on North Palm Canyon and went through the valley. We had over about 2,500 volunteers participate in this, and so this was great to partner with Tour de Palm Springs again to bring that event to the downtown. On February 14th, we had our Love and Loteria game nights over at Duluth Community Center. We had a great turnout from our community members and families to participate in this event, where we had games, treats, and lots of love to be shared as part of our Valentine's Day event. On February 22nd, this past weekend, we had the Black History Parade and Town Fair. The Black History Parade was on Palm Canyon, and the Town Fair was in the downtown park. The event recognized and celebrated the achievements and contributions of African Americans throughout history. And we have several pictures here from the event, and of course our lovely commissioners that participated in walking the parade, so thank you for doing that. And then here are some other pictures from the parade itself, showcasing the amount of community participation in the events. We had about 55 entries that showed up as part of that parade. And then the parade culminated at the town fair over in the downtown park. As part of the town fair, our master plan team had a community booth to show awareness about the conclusion of the master plan projects and all of the efforts that we had with community engagement to complete the master plan. Members of the community were able to view copies of the plan and ask questions that they had about where we are with the project. A program feature for this month, pictured here is our water aerobics program over at the Palm Springs Swim Center. The program provides a low impact water exercise, and it's located, of course, at the Palm Springs Swim Center. We do want to point out we have the heated pool, so the community members will enjoy that when participating in this lovely program. And this program occurs every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 to 11 at the swim center. Some updates on some maintenance and facilities highlights to be aware of. As part in conjunction with the Parks Maintenance Division and the Public Works Department. At Ruth Hardy Park, we had a water main repair over at the restroom, so you can see some of the images here picturing the repair and cleanup as part of that project. We also replaced some recycle cans throughout the park over at Ruth Hardy Park, which you can see pictured here. And we also replaced pet waste receptacles throughout the park over at Ruth Hardy. At Denmuth Park, we trimmed a 2-foot fire break and walking path between the oleanders and the fence over 500 yards long. So this is a great improvement and relieves congestion in this area and some negative activity that would occur in this space. So it was a great cleanup project over at Denmuth Park. And I will turn it over to John to give you some updates on some projects.
Hey, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Great. So there's a lot on this slide, and I'll talk briefly without trying to get too much into detail. I'm happy to answer questions as I go along. The Desert Highlands Park exercise equipment, that project is, let's say 99% complete. We have one little piece, you can see the gentleman you were working on the bottom left there. One of those bars actually had a tiny little pinhole in the weld when we received it from the manufacturer. So I did request that we get a new one. They said, hey, fix it with paint, and I said, no, that's not gonna work. I don't want 3, 5, 7 years to have a big rust hole in there, so short of that piece being installed, that project is complete. Phase 2, we had a little hiccup with some of the surfacing. 5 out of the 11 pieces had some of the surfacing damage the night that it was put in. Couldn't tell if it was footprints or we had a lot of ground swirls, things like that up there too. Some fencing might have blown in some of those areas, some of the snow fencing you see. We unfortunately did have to do a change order for that, to replace 530 square feet on the 5 different pieces. But that was able to be done really quickly and got that set, no more problems with the repairs that took place. Moving forward, we have been looking to establish more of a trail. I met with a landscape architect last week on site to start looking at what do we need to make that happen, and addressing feasibility, scope, cost, things like that. So they are currently working on that for us. Giving us a better idea of what we're looking at to do that. And we also met, I believe week before last, I met with a solar light vendor who we've been looking at as one of the options for lighting in the playgrounds. We know we keep hearing that we're pursuing every avenue we can. So they were from Idaho. They were on the way out of town. I had them go by the park. They were going to look at our playground there, as well as looking at lighting some equipment and possibly lighting a pathway, however that ended up coming to fruition of the path. So we had a meeting, I believe, this week with that vendor as well to see their analysis. They also were doing a photometric study for us that would help with the concerns we've had with migratory birds, light pollution, things like that. We're still working on ribbon cutting ceremony, festivities, things like that. We really like to see related to the path and the lights, how much of that's gonna be involved, what our timeline looks like that, if we can wrap that into a larger projects. And reveal everything and have a bigger festivity all at once. That's the goal right now. If those are larger capital projects or maybe a CIP team with heavier financial lift, I'll say, in a longer timeline, we'll have to schedule something sooner and then work on those in the future.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
So is the community able to use the exercise equipment right now?
Yeah.
And then when the fencing has to get replaced, does that mean they won't be able to use it for a day or two, or what does that look like for them?
The fencing?
Whatever it is that you need to replace 530 feet.
Oh, no, we already did that.
Oh,
So
it's done.
We had that.
Good.
I'm sorry, I missed.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, surfacing, we had some snow fencing, what that's called, that orange fencing.
I got it.
So that was up during that time, we had to replace some of these surfacing, the top layer of surfacing.
Okay.
And that's been done, yeah, it's all good to go. The two guys there on the top right, I did ask if I could take a picture. They're happy that I believe they are our first satisfied customers the day we they were on it and they saw me walking over and I think they thought I was gonna chase them off. I said, no, we're happy to see you here. So they were happy to demonstrate for us. And I just want to point out too, on that bottom middle picture, you kind of see it's like ramped a little bit. Some of the elevations on these are a little bit high, so we had the contractor come in, bring in some, DG compacted, make sure that we have good accessibility to all of those pieces. The James O. Jesse Desert Island Unity Center plaque installation finally came to fruition. We have the plaque in hand. It was a really kind of scrambled the last thing to make sure to see if we could get that in this month. We really want to get that in during Black History Month. Happy to say that we were successful in getting that. We do have a event scheduled for this Wednesday for 2:30, so probably around 4 we'll be doing popcorn, ice cream, all that. Chad and our special events team will be doing a full setup there. Councilmember Grace Gardner as well as Councilmember David Reddy will be there. Grace Gardner is speaking. I'm not sure if David is, but a lot of the community members, prominent members. We're hoping Lola Roberts, who was one of the people mentioned on the plaque, she's in the living and hoping that she'll be speaking there as well. And we've been also been coordinating with the Desert Island Gateway Estates Community Action Association to coordinate community outreach there as well, make sure that everybody in the community is involved, knows when this is happening, and try and get everybody there. So I'd love to see everybody there.
Do they know that it's happening? Do you know?
Yeah.
They do. Okay, good.
Yeah, and just on that too, it is kind of a tough time of day, and that was one that we made sure to coordinate that with them, make sure that's some people get off work early. Kids have their release day, so a lot of kids can be there with parents, things like that, so. Barista Playground, the playground equipment there, that construction began on Monday, January 27th. Demolition site, preparation, playground structure. The construction on all of those portions are complete. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to go by today, well, before I hop ahead, I want to say inspection passed, 21st went out there, last Friday, everything looked good, concrete and, there we go. So it looks a bit messy, but, this was a couple days ago, but that's a lot of the packing material as the contractors are trying to get shops about the guys in, but they're unwrapping the stuff and putting it together in these photos during this time, so. The surfacing actually began today. Our next picture we'll get to in just a second. We'll have a picture of that. It's on track to be done by this Friday, and you can see right there, all those structures are up, they're complete. That's the subsurfacing, so it won't be black, but that's what's underneath. We'll put the top coat over that. So I went by, this picture was probably about 2:30, 3 o'clock, and they were still at it. So we're on track to have that all done. Say surfacing done by the end of the weekend. We'll want to make sure we get adequate time to cure, address any things like that, but be looking forward to that part very soon. And the temporary pickleball sites, we've been coordinating with Public Works, Building Safety, Legal, etc., to secure a location agreement and to coordinate all the necessary site improvements. There are a lot of site improvements that would go to the site that we're looking at. Hopefully, securing. Nick's been working very hard on that and agreement for us. And I've been meeting with several different contractors for surfacing, for fencing, to look at resurfacing, converting 3 of those different tennis courts into 12 pickleball courts, making sure that we address any issues that are there on the surfacing, but fixing the fencing that's in place. We have to add a gate and roll pathways and things like that as well. So good progress on that, and we expect to be some good movement here shortly.
So where is that? Is that at Ruth Hardy? No. Or do you not want to tell me?
But we don't want to say yes because an agreement hasn't been officially signed just yet.
Got it.
I was gonna say I didn't text. And then I wanted, this was the last minute addition to tonight's presentation. Probably about an hour before I came over here, I had a couple voicemails and phone calls, emails, sorry. When I got back to the office from Desert X, they are working on their installation. Their permit review is in review now. They submitted on the 6th. There is a last minute push that it will be reviewed, and whatever adjustments will be made to make sure that permit is approved tonight. The contractor, they are planning on beginning installation Thursday after our event. They stressed I can't stress enough to them, I should say, how critical it is that no type of construction or anything be taking place up there Wednesday during our events. I don't even want to put them stage there, let's just get to one thing without having something
Please.
interrupted, yeah. So they are planning on starting Thursday morning, first thing, they're gonna drill the footings, start pour the concrete, have that all done. The plan is by Friday, and then install these cloud pieces that you see on the bottom right there. They'll actually put those in on Monday. For reference, it's kind of hard to tell, those are on the the northwest side, I guess, of the park, if you're looking at it as the map shows. Where they are now in that picture, those two red dots illustrate, they're trying to move them back just a little bit, just to make sure they're not getting any accessibility issues. And those are 33 feet high on the left and 27 feet on the right, so looking forward to seeing those, there'll be a lot more information as those come out. That's the project, but if somebody has any questions.
Everybody's good?
Thank you.
You're next, sorry.
No, Gary Armstrong.
He's via Zoom.
Gary, you've been unmuted. Can you hear us?
I'm like, he in here.
Okay, can you hear? My camera's not going though. Oh, wait.
Or do you have to show us something?
No, Riley has it.
I disagree. I can make you a pass once again.
Yeah, I don't know how to get the camera to go. Wait. No, sorry, you're not gonna be able to see me. I'm in a really beautiful hotel room in Chula Vista. Just no, the art here is really stunning. It's not like typical artwork. Anyway, I've got 4 things very quickly to talk to you about. Popsicles was supposed to be going downtown in Lot G. It was going to be the Pop Art Park that we called it. And I spoke to you at length for probably the past 2 years about it. But after 2 years, the city engineering and building department has determined that popsicles and any artwork can't go there. And actually, you're going to be seeing some changes to that area because apparently it's it can't handle any more weight. So we need to find a new place for these popular pieces of artwork. When I was driving up to have my very first in-person meeting with Nick, and John was going to be the meeting, I pulled up to the parking lot by the Leisure Center. I saw this wall right there, and I thought, that is a perfect place for popsicles. And the reason why is popsicles is extremely popular. It's very bright. It was one of our most Instagram pieces of public art. But the problem with it is it needs a north face. Otherwise it will fade too quickly. And so we couldn't just stick it in any park and the other problem is the back of it is not art. The back of it is basically like behind the scenes at Disneyland. So we need something that will sort of back it up. And I think that right here along this wall between the palm trees area will be a really beautiful, bright place for this artwork. I ran it by John and Nick when I was there and like, yeah, we like the idea. Let's run it by the commission. So what we need from you is the art commission has signed off on this. We just need you to agree to the placement and then it will go to council at their next council meeting and then it will be installed and it will be a nice little welcome to everybody coming to the convent or the leisure center and to the swim center and anybody who parks in there.
That was gonna be my question. So that's the wall like to the left of where you would enter to the swim center? Is that right?
No, to the right.
To the right. Yeah, I'm so bad with direction, I'll admit. So thank you.
Yeah. To the right side of the picture is heading into the leisure center front entrance.
Okay, gotcha.
So as you're walking in to the leisure
Yeah.
pavilions on the right, it's that wall. there.
I gotcha. Okay, thanks for clearing that up for me.
What's the proportion of the width of the installation and the width between the 2 palm trees? I think that's where Gary was saying that's where it would go. Is that correct?
Gary,
Yeah,
would
but
you fit between those 2 palm trees?
well, the thing is the 5 pieces are all separate. So we can spread them out or tighten them as much as we want. So depending on placement, we can maybe put 3 between the 2 palm trees and 1 on either side, or, you know, we can worry about that. Don't worry. We're not going to be killing any palm trees.
Right. But the main thing is you want it to be as close to the wall as possible, because I've been to that on Sunny, isn't it on Sunny Dunes currently? It was.
No, it's in our storage facility for the past year.
Wherever it was, I remember walking around and seeing the back and like, oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the placement of it. What do you guys think?
Yes.
I see a lot of nodding heads.
Yes.
Okay. Nick, do you need to do a formal vote?
No, no formal votes needed.
Okay. Next is, as you know, I've been very, sharing with you the beautiful shade program that we worked on with you and sustainability. And we did our call for artists. We had over 80 submissions at 3 different levels. There were 50,000, 25,000, and we did not get any at 5,000. So we then put that other 5,000 into the 25,000 pot. One of the artists who was in the 50,000 range, we liked her work based on her previous portfolio of submissions. But we wanted her to rejigger her design and reconceive it. So she resubmitted at the $30,000 level. And this is the piece she came up with. It's called Dragonfly. And you can see you can see the dimensions there. You can see the colors and the overall Dragonfly. And if you jump ahead one slide, Riley or Nick, whoever's doing that, this is her previous work, and you can see why we were really impressed with it. It's on display in a lot of various public parks. And the closest that the Dragonfly would be is this Trillium piece on the far left of the screen, where there's little sort of benches there. And they are, you know, aerodynamic, and they're great, and they're nice and bright. So if you can go back one slide again to see the design. So again, the Trillium type leaf would be at the bottom, and then a leaf would be over top, and a Dragonfly. The Dragonfly wings are transparent. So when the sun does shine through, there will be colored blocks on the ground as well. Okay. And if you
so
could,
the seats is like enough for 3 people?
yeah.
Okay.
Will it
Yeah.
be shaded or it's gonna burn your bottom?
No, it'll be powder coated paint, much like a lot of the other benches that are that way around the city.
Right, but what she's saying is, so it's metal, right? So it'll get hot.
Yeah, it'll get as hot as anything, just like the cement gets hot, the cement public benches. So.
Okay, so it probably needs to be someplace with
Shade.
wind or something.
Well, if you want to jump ahead to the next slide, Riley.
Yeah.
This is what we were thinking is the area on the far left, sort of in that shaded tree area between the Boys and Girls Club on the way to that walkway. Sunrise is down the far left. Boys and Girls Club's in the lower left-hand side. And then there's a pathway there. Do y'all see it? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Sorry, right, you can't see us.
Yeah. Somewhere in that area there, on the pathway by the Boys and Girls Club going towards the swim center and the rest of the park.
We can't take comments from the audience.
It's a question.
Yeah, we don't do that. You have to agendize it.
There, we did it.
Okay. So, yeah, so this is, wait, go back one. So this is the area that, in that approximate area there. We also have a couple other pieces that we need to move out from downtown. And one of the things we're thinking of doing is creating an art cluster in this area, because we have that existing piece right in the middle there that seems very lonely. And we have they're tall, substantial pieces that we'd like to move to a park. And we thought this would be a great place, but we'll work on that later.
Okay.
Next piece. This is the best one in terms of tonight. So this was the top.
This needs to go in a dog park.
So I will say, in all of the call for artists reviews and deliberations we've done, we've had one unanimous piece, and this is the piece. This was the one that every commissioner loved. And this is called Beautiful. It's Parkside Gossip is the name of it. And this was designed by the artist Roger Reutemann, who did the Catalactus piece on Tahquitz Canyon. And if you jump ahead to the next slide, you can see that this is 3 big desert blooms in differing opening of spread. And then there is a sort of a triangular shaped bench area underneath, and for multiple people to sit facing different directions. If you can go to the next one. wait, go back one more. I'm not done talking about that. I'm sorry, Riley. So what we like about this piece is it's big and bright, it's substantial, it provides shade in every direction, and it also has really elegant seating. Some of the other people had, one seat or just facing a certain direction, but we like the fact that this could be a monument piece within a park. It is natural and vegetation looking. And what he was inspired by with his design was Poolside Gossip, the iconic Palm Springs photo. And so he took the design and the imagery of the umbrellas around the pool and inverted them and turned them into these desert blooms. Okay. So we are doing, the Art Commission is funding one of these and this will be a piece in our public art collection. And the placement we want to put it is, if you can go ahead, is Ruth Hardy Park. And we don't have a substantial piece of artwork in Ruth Hardy Park. We have a couple small pieces, but nothing, big and noticeable. We spoke to John at the Parks Department and he gave us areas of high activity and areas that people would like shade. The area that we think this would look best is in the lower left-hand corner. There's a little pathway there and it's right behind the monument sign to Ruth Hardy Park. And we think that would be nice. And as I said, people that are walking around the park, they can sit there. And I've gone to Ruth Hardy Park a couple times to scope out how people are using the park. And that area, sort of the red blob right there by the monument sign, I kept seeing these young families playing soccer and playing with each other and running around. And I just thought that's an area that, I could see these young families sitting there and watching their kids play. So we think it's a real winner and a great location. Now, what the artist did is to show the shade cast on this. So you can see the different directions. And if you want, Riley, how many did you put in here? Is there a couple? Yeah. So if you want to sort of go through a couple of them, you can see how the shade casts in different ways, depending on the time of day. That one would be 4 p.m. And that's how the seating, the bench would look. Okay. Okay. Now, for all those people in the dog park, one of the things that we did in our call for artist application is we said that we would fund one out of the art collection, and then we would have the opportunity to manufacture more. Yeah, just stay here. Manufacture more. And I said that would be up to the Parks Department if they felt that they wanted more of these manufactured for other city parks. So the question for you as a Parks Commission is, do you feel you would like more of these? And if you do, then I will work with Nick and John and figure out how we will get funding. And maybe it's the thing where we go present to Measure J, or we make a presentation where we want these from general funds, or maybe there's something else you have in your existing budget. I really don't know. But the question is, if you want more of these, how many, which parks, and then we will work on funding. The manufacturing and fabrication of this will probably be 6 to 7 months. And that's for the one we get approved. So the artist, if we told him he'd get approval by mid-March, and he said he could have them installed by late September, early October.
I think the questions would be things like how many people can sit on the bench and how big are the blooms, if you will. So how much shade is actually going to be cast? Is this the one where there's like an animation of it?
I don't think that's in the presentation, no. But I can give you the send
animation thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But you can see that
I like it, but I just don't know how big. I don't remember how big it is, how wide it is.
The dimensions are right here on this one here. It's like 17 feet across. 15.
Oh.
Yeah, it's 17 by 15.
Yeah. So these are substantial.
See? I think I'm gonna guess it seats like 6. Does that seem right?
At least 2 on each.
It's
It'd be 6 to 9.
What do you say, Gary? How many do you think can sit on there?
Oh, I think more than. Go back to the very first, the yellow one.
Also, which one is going in Ruth Hardy, yellow or blue?
Yellow.
Yellow is the primary one. And the idea is one would, as I said, one would be part of the art collection, and then he would find a way to differentiate the other ones. They would be the property of the Parks Department. And so his saying is, I could change the decoration in the middle, or I could change the color of them. So he chose this turquoise color. But I think that's open for debate.
Think up to 12 people.
Yeah.
Doesn't provide any shade, period.
It provides a ton of shade. That's what the darkness is below it.
Yeah.
That's shade.
Well, you can draw.
We're not at
the dog park.
I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to do that. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, keep going.
So does the commission have any questions for me on this? Yeah, you can see the shade here and the.
Do you guys have questions? Looks like a no.
So I might add here is we would like direction from the commission if you want us to explore though, putting these in other parks. Because then that would give us the idea to go back and work with the Public Art Commission on seeing what it would take for the artist to fabricate these for other park locations. Correct, yeah. And so if you like this piece and would like to see it in other park locations in the park system, we can explore that. We wouldn't be picking those sites tonight, but at least it would give us direction from staff to then go back and suggest some sites to the commission in the future.
Correct.
I'd really like to actually see one, be able to see it in action and see what it really does provide and be sitting under it. Before I would say, yeah, let's pump out a bunch of them. So that's my opinion.
I have the same opinion. I think we should do a test case.
Okay, we could table them.
But realize that means we're waiting 6 to 7 months. But it's still better to do that and get something we like, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Something that works.
yep, got it.
We're usually told what's gonna happen, so they give us a chance to say whether we like it or
Whether
not.
we like it. I mean.
Any other comments on that? No? Okay, good. Lastly, Artscape in the parks. As you recall, there were the ones in Desert Highland, Victoria Park, Gateway Park, and Baristo Park. All 4 are on schedule to be installed by May 19th, 2025. A couple of the artists have asked if they could install them earlier, but we want them all installed within the same 1-week window period. So I'll be getting back to you, but they know they all have to be installed by May 19th.
Cool, so 4 ribbon cuttings at once.
Yeah. What we found with the pillars is having, then it was 6 substantial pieces of artwork coming in at the same time. It had much greater impact, not only within the community, but within the media. So that's why we want these all going in at the same time period. And also, I believe in June of 2025, it's the 50th anniversary of the expansion of Desert Highland, Francis Stevens, Sunrise Park, and one more park in the city. So that will be an interesting thing for press as well.
I thought there was another one going into Francis Stevens Park.
Francis Stevens is getting the Pride Monument, but that won't be done until, I believe it's going to be done by November 1st. So that's not part of this initiative. Okay. Any other questions?
Doesn't look like it.
Okay. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, John. Thanks, John. Bye, Joe.
Thanks,
Bye,
Gary.
Rod.
Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Riley.
Right, who's in the hot seat now?
All right, so we've been receiving a lot of feedback, as you heard this evening, about the condition of our dog parks in the park system. And so after discussing with John, I wanted to go ahead and present to you all a kind of an update on where we are with the dog parks. So just to start off with the Demuth Dog Park improvements, as you know, this has been a project that the city has been working on for some time. This is both for the large and the small dog park over at Demuth Park. staff are well aware that those parks are not in the condition that they need to be to serve as a dog park. Which is why the city embarked on working on grant funding and securing funding so that we can make improvements to that site to ensure that those are beautiful dog park spaces, not only for the dogs to play, but also for a social gathering for our patrons to utilize for the park. In mid-December, we worked with the city's consultant, Kimberly Horn. They submitted plans to the city for review. Those are currently being reviewed now. We're looking at the plans, the specifications, and the cost estimate for the improvements to the dog park. And note that that also includes other improvements to the park, being the parking lot and some other kind of enhancements to that space. We are awaiting a time extension with the Land and Water Conservation Fund. That's the grant provider that's providing the funding for these improvements. From my understanding is that we delayed this project, and so we had to request additional time to go ahead and embark on reviewing of the plans and the construction project and all of that. And so we submitted a request to the state to go ahead and request that time extension to be approved. It most likely will be approved. We just haven't received a formal letter from the state, so we're kind of in a holding pattern for now. But if everything moves forward and we built in that timeline, we are expected to open this in mid-2026. Once we have dates on when that'll all be constructed and further review of the plans and specifications and the renderings and all that, we will bring that over to you all for review. But just know that that is something that the city is actively pursuing. A lot of.
Wait, can I ask you something?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
What about the netting that we need there to protect the balls from going from the ball field into the dog park?
Yes.
Can we separate that out? Cause that's already happening, right?
Yes, and that was a comment that was brought up last time. We still need to do further review on that, so I don't have an answer just yet, but I'll bring that forward for a future item for you all to be aware of. Regarding the David H. Reddy Dog Park here behind City Hall. As you know, we currently have a maintenance schedule to close the park every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 12 to 3 p.m. This gives the park's maintenance staff and time to ensure any upkeep and maintenance of the park. Of course, you know, and you heard this evening, is that we also do a seasonal closure of the park where we reseed it in the fall and it's remaining closed during that time period. We're seeing a lot of high usage at this park. The park is heavily attended with daily use over at this site, which obviously when you get a lot of high use on a park and major traffic areas, you're getting a lot of stress that's put onto the park, which is related to the condition of the park space. We also have issues with the patrons visiting this park, and we want to just make note is that patrons do have a responsibility when they're utilizing the park, the dog park, right? We expect our patrons to pick up their own litter that they're leaving behind, and they're picking up and cleaning up any dog waste. Of course, if that is left behind, our parks maintenance staff still does that, but that is overall just good standards of being a good park user and utilizing that space. We are also getting a lot of complaints, and you heard it this evening, related to the seating at this park. There are an issue between permanent seating and patron provided seating that is occurring at this site, specifically in relation to the small dog park. The park itself features 5 permanent benches, there's a dog bone shaped bench, but you're seeing an overabundant use of patio style chairs that have been brought into the park by park users, and over 30 chairs are now in this park. These chairs are not provided for the city, they're not provided by the city. They clutter the park, and it's not a commercial grade product. And so these are patio style chairs that don't have overall long time use and are not able to be really in a park setting. And the city would never put that in unless it is a commercial grade product and it's safe for all of our park users. And so we understand that there's a lot of issues happening, specifically in relation to this park. park. And so what I would recommend in getting kind of consensus from the overall Parks and Recreation Commission is that we need to engage the dog park ad hoc committee to set up time to do a focus group, have discussions with the park users over at the dog park, and making sure that we gather formally feedback from all of our users and we can engage them. Now, I want to preface, this work isn't going to happen overnight. This is the start of ongoing conversations that we can utilize to make improvements, suggest improvements over to the park side. I mean, we heard some of the issues that are occurring this evening, but what we're really looking to is to do an overall fix and improvement to the park side. I don't want to just keep putting Band-Aids on this. I want to make sure that we've thoughtfully planned this, we make future improvements to this site and do this really in a way that we're engaging the community and that everybody has an ownership of this, right? I know that the chairs are an issue. We're not going to remove the chairs, but the chairs are a big concern. It's adding a lot of congestion into this site, and then overall, we are aware of the condition because it is a highly utilized park, that the grass is not sitting, because there's so many users and so many dogs that are being utilized in this space. And I want to make note that the city of Palm Springs, we are committed to keeping the dog park open. We're committed to making this a safe and enjoyable experience for everybody utilizing the park. But we would like to move forward and create some separate focus group discussions. And I'll turn it over to the commission if you have any comments or suggestions to add.
If we decide to do a focus group, can we put something at the park that tells the people who are using the park when that focus group is gonna happen? Cause I think that's the best way they're gonna get the information and know when and where to go.
Absolutely, and so, yeah, that would be my recommendation as well, is that is publicly noticed, specifically at the dog park, and I would put it at both dog park locations, just in case we are missing another, group of people down at the move, so that they are aware of what we're going to be doing.
And what's well, I'll ask my other ad hoc member. What do you think the timeline for us to set that up is? A month, 2 weeks?
I would say probably a couple weeks, according to
We need to give them a
the
couple
amount
weeks
of people that
notice.
have voice their opinions, but
Okay,
you know, at least 2-3 weeks, if we could do that.
I have a question. Is there a reason you don't want to remove the plastic chairs that aren't from the city? It's cluttering the park. Why do they need to be there?
As you heard this evening, we are already getting a lot of comments related to that, and users that are not wanting us to remove the chairs. And so I don't want to just remove it overnight, but I hope that in some of these conversations, that those users are taking that into consideration and removing some of those chairs that aren't needed. Just like any other park, if you go to a soccer game in the park, right, you're bringing your chair in and then you're taking it out. That should be the way it is at this location, but I also understand that there are patrons utilizing this that have mobility issues and you know, there's a bigger, broader discussion. And so we initially thought that we would remove the chairs, but we received a lot of feedback from the users at this location.
well, I think we're in agreement. We do want to set up a focus group. Let's try and set it up for what, end of March? Third week of March, something like that. It's already the end of February.
Could we possibly do it the week of March 24th? And we can coordinate times with the ad hoc committee and staff and a location. So we can circle offline on that and confirming a date and location and time, and then make sure everybody, of course, on the commission is aware, and then also, of course, our park users are aware of that as well.
I mean, that week is good, I think, because our next commission meeting is March 24th, so we could actually say our focus group meeting will be March 26th or whatever.
You don't want to try to do it before then?
I don't think it'll give them enough time to, because I want to give them like at least 2 weeks advance notice, like this is when it's gonna be. Even though I know most of these people are there every day, trust me, like, okay.
But I go there like take pictures, everybody's like, who's this guy? And I just kind of hide. Stealthy,
You can't hide, there's no shade.
I know. I think that works the week that week.
Okay, then, staff will coordinate, time, location, confirm the date as well, and then, we will circle with the two of you on the ad hoc committee, and of course, we'll let the rest of the commission know, just so you're aware of that. Cool.
So it's just the two of you on the ad hoc committee?
Mhm.
That's good. A good number.
Oh.
You probably use another.
Mike, good to see you.
You can do this first before we do ad hoc.
Okay. All right, so a couple of special events just to be aware of. As John had mentioned earlier, we are doing the plaque dedication at the James O. Jesse Desert Highland Unity Center. This will be on Wednesday from 2:30 to 4, and so we'll host a big event and honoring the members who advocated for the creation of the park. And so that'll be really exciting and great that for the city to showcase that. On March 14th, Village Fest is turning 33. So we're doing a birthday celebration at Village Fest to showcase that. Happy birthday to Village Fest. So please join us if you're able to.
What date?
March 14th,
Thursday is 13th.
March 13th.
Guess we better change the date, huh?
Yes, it should be March 13th, I'm sorry. Another event at James O. Jesse on March 7th at 5 p.m. We have our March Movie Mayhem event. We will be watching Disney's Mulan, which is a movie for the whole family with refreshments that we will be serving for the event. Also kickstarting next month, we will start our Movies in the Park series. The first movie will be March 14th. Which is, we'll be showing Despicable Me, and that'll be held at Sunrise Park. Following on March 28th, we'll be showing Elemental at Mood Party Park. April 16th, The Wild Robot at Mood Park, and then May 14th, Wicked at Victoria Park. Also, starting this summer, we'll have our Dive-In movie series at the Palm Springs Swim Center. The first movie will be on June 21st. We'll be showing at Disney Soul. On March 15th, we have our monthly community market at the Duluth Community Center. And as always, you're able to rent a spot and sell your items by contacting the Duluth Community Center. And then on Saturday, April 12th, we have our third annual Palm Springs World Art Day Festival. And you know, several of you are serving on a committee who support this event, and so we'll have a lot of artists available as part of the event. We'll have art programs, hands-on projects, we'll have a kids zone, student art gallery, food vendors, and much more. And we are also looking for artists, so if you know of any artists that are available and would like to participate, please let them know that we are looking for artists. Also, as part of our World Art Day, we are also soliciting sponsorships. And so if you know of any businesses that would be interested in purchasing a sponsorship, we have a sponsorship brochure that we can share with them to show them all the wonderful benefits that they would receive for sponsoring this event. And that concludes the special event report. Thank you.
Okay, so ad hoc reports. I don't think we need one for dog park. We know what's happening, right? Good on that. Master plan, I don't remember who's part of what. Ross, this year.
No update following city council, waiting for the
Site
review.
park enhancements is you. Can I ask you something just before we start on this? You know how the current playground, the surface is black, will it be red? What is it going to be after a so? You know that rubberized surface, like what color does it become?
It will, pardon me, it'll be that tan and black, just like all the other parts.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah, I don't remember selecting that color.
No, I knew it didn't stay black, I just wasn't sure what color it became.
That's the actual, like what's underneath it.
Yeah, I got you.
As far as park enhancements, most of
what we have is part of a bigger project, so John already pretty much covered it. But I was excited to see the photos of Baristo.
Yeah.
I was a little nervous because I was afraid our color selections got lost with all of the changes, so seeing the photo kind of made me feel a little bit, it looks beautiful.
I was there Friday, so I was there Friday, it was like a disaster.
Yeah, I
And
think
it like something blew up. Cause it had all like the packaging and everything was there. And I was like,
and Brew Party, I believe it's next, and that's gonna be gorgeous.
cool. Thanks. Pickleball.
Okay, the latest pickleball updates. I appeared at the city council at the most recent meeting on February 13th. I was going for the question, did a brief presentation with regards to moving forward and advancement of the pickleball initiative. Spoke in favor, obviously, for that. I also spoke in support of the master plan. As was noted earlier in this evening's meeting, the pickleball project is now out to bid. An item was brought up at the last meeting, where a request was put forth for, posting information online, as this project pickleball slowly moves forward. So people wanted to be, gaining insights as to what was happening, and, goes to our director, Vic, he, got right on that, and we do have, regular updates on what's happening, so people can be in the loop on what's happening. So, just so everyone else was follow up on that request on that initiative. And as also was previously cited at the meeting, it should have been finalized reference alternative site, and, you know, we will be going for construction, and details will be forthcoming, on what's happening with that, in the not too distant future. And that is it, and on pickleball.
Thanks. Swim center.
Swim Center, still on hold with regards to the preliminary concept report. Went out there today and it was really a great turnout on the low impact water aerobics. It's a really nice crowd today. They look like they're having a really good time, but keep them busy over there for sure.
The pool practically doesn't need to be heated at this point.
Best thing about hot weather, right?
Yeah, exactly. Does anybody have any questions about the ad hocs? No. Okay. Do any commissioners have any comments?
Yes. Just want to bring to everyone's attention that, on March 8th, Courageous Resistance of the Desert will be conducting, an annual event over at the downtown Hot Springs Park. And it's going to be an international women's rally, and will be held on Saturday, March 8th, from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. So if you have a chance to drop by, please keep that on your calendar. And just as an aside to folks, for those who celebrate, we have some forthcoming important holidays and events, and want to wish everyone happy Ramadan, those who celebrate. And Employee Appreciation Day is, as we head into early part of March, and also St. Patrick's Day.
Thanks. Anyone else?
Actually, yes, it's kind of a request more than a comment, but.
Jeez, I'm scared.
No, I think it'd be great if we, and by we, I mean our ad hoc, but maybe the rest of you would appreciate this, but a calendar or a spreadsheet with a summary of all key dates, so events, projects, if there's something happening in our parks that's important, just having all that information in one place. I think it'd be great and it'd be valuable. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I thank you to everyone involved in changing the date for when the statue was moved or being moved, because we did have the parade this weekend. That cannot happen again. And so I think something like this would help prevent that, because we would have more eyes. So that's
So you're giving more work to Riley and.
We have most of that in several places, we just compile that for you all, and that could be something that we. Put together as part of the agenda packet, so you get that monthly, and so, yeah, so we can work on something. So we can do that for the next meeting in March, and then gather feedback from you all, if that's something that's useful and beneficial.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anybody else? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Parks and Recreation meeting adjourned at 7:05 p.m. Next meeting on March the 24th at 5:30.
Yeah, so we're doing something about legal.
Um,
Oh, let's see, like, tell you what that-
This spot definitely is.